Every week, there is a new diet being sold as a final answer. Keto, intermittent fasting, paleo, low carb, carnivore, Mediterranean, and online people talk about diets like religion. One person say the carbs are the problem, another person say fat is a problem, another person say fasting is the secret, and after a while, normal people are just confused. So today, I want to explain the most popular diets in a simple way. Why they can work, where they fall short, and which one may fit different goals. I am Dr. Guilarte, I am Cuban trained physician, and I create educational content about metabolism, recovery, and longevity. This is not medical advice, and I'm not here to sell you a perfect diet, because the honest answer is, there is no perfect diet for everyone. But there are principles that show up again and again. The first principle is energy balance. For fat loss to happen, your body usually has to consistently use more energy than it takes in. That doesn't mean that your body is a simple calculator. Hormones, appetite, sleep, stress, muscle, food quality, and your environment all matters. But the energy balance is still there underneath. The mistake is thinking that each diet works as magic. Keto does not work because carbs are evil. Fasting doesn't work because the clock has supernatural powers. Paleo doesn't work because the caveman had a perfect diet. Many popular diets work because they create structure. They help some people eat fewer calories, eat more protein, eat more fiber, reduce snacking, and cut down ultra-processed foods. That is the boring part. But it's also the part that matters. Let's start with the keto. The ketogenic diet is a very low-carb diet. The goal is to push the body towards using more fat and ketones as fuel. For some people, keto can reduce appetite and make it easier to eat less. It can also lead to a fast way to early weight loss, because when you reduce carbs, you also lose water stored with glycogen. But that early drop is not all fat loss. Keto can be useful for some people, but it is not a metabolic cheat code. If it helps you eat less and stay consistent, it can work. If it makes your life miserable, it is probably not your best tool. And there are real considerations. Some people see changes in cholesterol markers, especially LDL cholesterol on keto. People with diabetes medication, kidney disease, pregnancy, eating disorder history, or medical conditions should not experiment aggressively without professional guidance. Next, intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is not really a diet. It is a schedule. It tells you when to eat, not what to eat. The most common version is something like 16-8, where you fast for 16 hours and eat within an 8-hour window. Fasting can work because it gives people structure. If you skip late night snacking or reduce the number of eating opportunities, you may naturally eat less. But here is the important part. Intermittent fasting is not automatically better than a regular calorie deficit. If calories and proteins are similar, the fat loss results are often similar too. That doesn't make fasting useless. It means fasting is a tool. If it helps you control your appetite, simplify your day, or avoid overeating, it may fit you. But if fasting makes you binge late, feel terrible, train poorly, or obsess over food, it is not the right tool. Now, paleo diet. Paleo usually focuses on meat, fish, eggs, vegetable, fruits, nuts, and some root vegetables. It often removes grains, legumes, dairy, and many processed foods. The useful part is that it can move people towards more whole foods and fewer ultra-processed foods. But the evolutionary story is often oversold. Paleo may work for some people because it improves food quality and reduces processed foods, not because it perfectly recreates how humans are supposed to eat. It can be a good fit if you like clear rules or whole foods, but it can also be unnecessarily restrictive if you tolerate foods like beans, yogurt, oats, or whole grains well. Next, plant-based, vegetarian, and vegan diets. A plant-based diet can be very healthy, but vegan does not automatically mean healthy. You can eat beans, lentils, vegetable, fruits, tofu, nuts, and whole grains. Or you can eat vegan cookies, vegan nuggets, chips, and soda. Those are not the same. Plant-based diets can be high in fiber and support good quality food when they are well planned. But protein, vitamin 12, iron, omega-3s, calcium, iodine, and vitamin D may need attention. This diet can fit people who prefer plant-forward eating for health, ethics, or environment, but it needs planning, especially if your goal is muscle building or high performance. Now, DASH. DASH stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. It was designed around blood pressure friendly eating patterns. It emphasizes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, low-fat dairy, lean proteins, nuts, and lower sodium. DASH is not flashy, but for people focused on blood pressure and heart health, it is one of the most evidence-supported patterns. Do not think of it as a cure. Think of it as a structured eating pattern that can support blood pressure better habits. Now, the Mediterranean diet. This is probably the best long-term template for many people. No because it's magical, because it is flexible, nutrient-dense, and easier to sustain. The Mediterranean pattern is built around vegetable, fruits, legumes, whole grains, olive oil, nuts, fish, and mostly minimal processed food. It has one of the strongest evidence bases in nutrition, especially for cardiovascular style eating pattern. But even here, we need to be careful. It does not guarantee that you will avoid disease. It does not mean olive oil cancels unlimited calories. It is not a license to eat bread, pasta, wine, and dessert without context. The strength of the Mediterranean pattern is the whole pattern. Real food, fiber, healthy fats, protein, and long-term adherence. Now, let's simplify the decision. If your main goal is fat loss, the best diet is the one that helps you create a sustainable calorie deficit without feeling miserable. For many people, that means high protein, high fiber, fewer liquid calories, and fewer ultra-processed foods. If your goal is glucose or insulin resistance, the answer is just not cut all the carbs. A better framework is lose excess fat if needed, build muscle, walk after meals, improve sleep, reduce ultra-processed food, and choose carb sources that work better for you. Some people do well with lower carbs, others do well with Mediterranean or high fiber patterns. Context matters. If your goal is blood pressure, DASH and Mediterranean style eating patterns are strong places to look. If your goal is muscle and body recomposition, protein matters. A high protein pattern combined with strength training is usually more relevant than arguing online vegan versus keto. If your goal is long-term health, the most boring answer may be the best one. Most people choose start with the basics. Enough protein, more fiber, more whole foods, fewer ultra-processed foods, fewer liquid calories, and a pattern that they can actually repeat. Now, common mistakes. Mistake number 1, choosing a diet because it sounds impressive. If you cannot follow it for more than 3 weeks, it is probably not your diet. Mistake number 2, ignoring protein. This is especially important if you're trying to lose fat and keep muscle. Mistake number 3, eating keto junk food or vegan junk food and thinking that the label makes it healthy. The label doesn't save the diet. Mistake number 4, fasting all day and then overeating at night. That is not a metabolic hack. That is just delay overeating. Mistake number 5, chasing perfection. A diet that is 80% solid and repeatable usually beats a perfect diet that collapses every weekend. So what you should do tomorrow? Do not start by asking which diet is the best for me. Ask better question. Can I get enough protein with this? Can I get enough fiber? Can I train and recover well? Can I eat this way with my schedule, my family, my social life? Can I do this for a month and not just days? That is a real test. The best diet is not the one with the best marketing. It is the one that helps you meet your goals, supports your health, and fills your real life. For some people, that may be the Mediterranean. For some, lower carb. For some, plant-based. For some, fasting. For many people, it might simply be a mostly whole food, high protein and high fiber pattern without any fancy name. And that's fine. No diet gets to ignore the basic physiology, but no human being lives inside a nutrition textbook either. The right diet has to work in your day and your life. This is educational only, no medical advice. Drop a comment and tell me which diet have you tried before and what made it easy or hard to follow.